Hello, everybody. This is Andy Milkowski and the beginning of the Radiology Executive interview series. With me today, I have the CEO of Imaging Care Radiology and the Medical Group of New Jersey, Andreia Santos Lima. Andrea has also worked as a CFO of another radiology imaging company and has had a startup specializing in interior decor. Also, if that wasn't enough, she is quadrilingual and has experience in sonography. Andrea, could you give us a little more to your background?
Yes, thank you for that introduction. So I'm Andreia Lima. I specialize in scalable frameworks. My niche has been radiology. I've been with Image Care Radiology for 17 years. And I also established a framework for the Medical Group of New Jersey, which continues to grow over the past 3 years. My passion is design, which in some strange way does connect with my business because as we did acquisitions and mergers, I had to also quite literally bring these infrastructures up to par with the other silos that we had. So that did include construction and design as well. So I've also was excited to bridge my creative side and design these infrastructures.
Wow, so you definitely have a creative side to yourself.
I
Anything
do.
about polyglot and a sonographer?
So the sonography actually came into play as I was finishing up my a master's degree in public administration. Like I said, I really grew up in radiology and I wanted to have exposure to the clinical side of things. So I put myself through sonography school, and that gave me a really good perspective into what technologists go through, how they manage the patient side of things, which has only helped me in my leadership on the logistical side.
Anybody who knows me knows that I have a love for ultrasound. So there's the common bond that we'll share there. You mentioned that your groups, as they continue to grow, wondering if I could transition that as a chief executive officer. Are there key financial metrics you keep a sharp eye on daily, weekly, to know that the businesses are going in a good direction?
Yes. So for our business specifically, your accounts receivable is going to be the major health factor in how your business is doing financially. You want to assess that minimally on a monthly basis, but we do try to keep a weekly gauge on that. In fact, I make all my leadership report to me on a weekly basis. Hey, these are what we did amazing on. This is where our challenges are, and this is where we land on that, delta curve. So we definitely keep an eye on the revenue table just to see how many claims are out there, how are we collecting, what are payers denying, what are the trends that we're identifying with insurance companies, how can we manage collections better, how can we handle the denials better, and then we tie that into internal workflows. So we want to track table times for our patients, not only has a comfort to the patients, but also has a metrics of how quickly do we have that table available to scan a study. So yeah, lots of different metrics in radiology and in medicine that we use.
And so it seems that the accounts receivable obviously is the stuff that you have to keep the sharpest eye on, and that's the
Yeah.
stuff that can fluctuate most.
Your revenue cycle is definitely the most important to keep your eye on.
And are there any investments, and I'm thinking just on the receivable side, have there been any investments that beyond equipment, obviously that could help, but beyond equipment that you've made over the past number of years that you think have helped disproportionately on the revenue side?
Yeah, I mean, you want to always maintain innovation at the forefront. So you mentioned equipment. Equipment is obviously a huge part of making sure you have state of the art equipment on site with your MRI, your CAT scan, your mammos. You want to have the top technology so that your patients feel comfortable coming to you, your diagnoses are more accurate. But AI has really been our friend in medicine, both in a workflow perspective. We actually were one of the first outpatient centers to implement virtual scanning for MRI and CAT scan. We had a very successful launch on that, and our president actually spoke at the big convention called RSNA in terms of how we accomplish this, both on the operational side and the technical side. So innovation is key, equipment is key, but also we want to integrate automations and AI with submitting claims and identifying errors without a human presence so that, again, that turnover for our cycle is working for itself. And our team can kind of keep an oversight at a high level and keep a dialogue with our providers in, hey, this is how we could be billing better. Hey, this is getting denied. This is why. AI integrations have become critical for our success here, for sure. And we integrate that wherever possible, not only clinically. I'm sure you're aware of the Mammo AI, where, the system will actually pinpoint, hey, I suspect a tumor or cancer here. And the radiologist can zoom in on that and see if that's applicable or not based on patient history or whatnot. So there's a clinical component. But on the workflow side, I definitely want to keep my team streamlined, efficient. And that's where the automations of the workflow, cross referencing what claims did we see versus what claims were billed out, making sure we're not missing anything, making sure they're going to the right payers. So those are the investments we're making and where AI can really help us.
I'll continue down that workflow path that you're talking about. If you were to look at the businesses today, do you have in mind a particular step in the end-to-end workflow that you think still has the largest opportunity, either with new AI packages or with just continued optimization?
Basically, what I would recommend for businesses today is look at any repetitive workflows that you have. And if you can train another individual on a repetitive motion, you can most likely turn that into an AI autonomous method in some way. So that's what I encourage my team to do is what are you doing repetitively that we can take that away from your time and get you focused on a more high level application. Like we need to get away from repetitive motions and use our brain power for something else. Analysis, data analytics, those are where I want that time spent and that effort spent.
Well, I'm impressed with the amount of things that you're describing, especially from being able to do remote scanning.
Yeah.
That's probably some benchmarking to do against others. If I could turn it more to people, retaining staff and morale, just with the radiology staff being in imaging center is probably a concern on your mind as it is with everybody else's. Has turnover been an issue, whether it's been related to the imaging center or not? Has turnover been an issue for your groups?
This front, I think, are a little bit of an outlier. We're quite lucky with our teams. Most people on my leadership, sub leadership team have been with the company for over 5 years. Some of us are lifers, I call us. We've been here over 10 years, even down to technologists and front desk staff. I can name quite a few people that have been with us from the get go. So we've been quite lucky. Turnover usually comes down to, things outside of the company's control, either lifestyle choices or career opportunities, things of that nature. But I'm pretty lucky with the team I have and the retention rate I have. We actually try to keep our open positions under 7%. So we have a pretty good, reliable, and consistent team on site.
Well, anybody that can say they have or that their radiology team is fully staffed is an
Yeah.
impressive claim.
Yeah.
And do you, just as a matter of interest to me, do you have metrics that you can help track, let's say things like burnout, just simply because everybody is doing more exams today than they were in years past?
Yeah, so we do use a software called TeamPlay, at least speaking to the technologist side, which is where a lot of the workforce is focused on. So we want to definitely track, like I said, table time will tell us both from the patient perspective, how much time that patient is sitting on the table, which also tells me how often is my tech scanning, how many scans are they doing every half hour, every hour, how many breaks do they need, things like that, especially today because our infrastructure is so top notch. We can do scans in under 12 minutes at times. So when we're scanning, speaking specifically to radiology, we look at the body parts. So, what are the top 10 studies that we're doing? How are they broken out? And then, how long is that tech on shift for? And then, based on table time and how many breaks they need and how many scans they're doing, that's how the sub leadership assigns their breaks, their burnout. And we listen to feedback too. I mean, we have an internal HR team here that staff feels comfortable reaching out to with any concerns, which also helps.
Excellent. Yeah, so you look at both the bottom and the top of the list for
Mhm.
opportunities, either for training or for watching out for potential burnout.
Yes.
What do you see? So I'm just kind of looking forward. RSNA is coming up,
Yep.
and the future of productivity. What do you think is the over the next year or so? What do you think is the opportunity that you're looking forward to?
I definitely want to continue down the path of optimizing productivity, both for the staff, the patient, and leadership. And like I said, AI is our friend in medicine. So, any innovative workflow applications where my staff can spend less time on the phone, where we can optimize the scans for the patients, where leadership has better data analytics at the press of a button, anything that really streamlines our multifaceted approaches to things will be our friend and will continue to scale us to new heights. So the RSNA attendance is focused on, for us, our physicians attend. Leadership stays on site, focused on the ground, improving the current dynamics. They bring that knowledge back to us. And then we kind of have a meeting of the minds on what things may be of interest to radiology at the image care radiology side and the multi-specialty branch. And that goes with not only, clinical applications, but like I said, with scheduling. How can we improve our patients' time on the phone? How can we schedule the studies faster? How can we keep people on the phone less time? So anything from checking in to the very first time you speak to somebody on the phone, to your experience on site with the technologist, to filling out the surveys at the end. We want to make sure that process is painless. And those integrations are going to come through innovations that are out there and by staying on top of what's on the market. So we are very fortunate to have our radiologists be the innovators. The leadership that we have is very collaborative, and we're able to kind of funnel that all the way down.
It's interesting in listening to you describe that. Much of the AI literature that comes across at least my feeds always concentrates on what people describe as the pixel AI, right? The imaging AI. And what I hear from you is that equally or even more important is a lot
Mhm.
of the AI associated with all the other workflows inside of an imaging center.
Yes, 100%. It is not only applicable, although it aids the physicians tremendously with, like I said, picking up tumors much faster or potential areas of concern. That's not our sole focus. And I think a lot of companies may stop there and be like, okay, we're good because we're applying it clinically. But our organizations really do a good job at seeing how we can apply that to streamline across the board. Both myself and my COO and a lot of my leadership here, we are not just suits. We really have worked every facet of the company. For example, I used to work at the file room at a hospital. That was the infancy of my journey. And then I was front desk, and then I did marketing, and then I did the finances, then I did the billing side, and so on. And I grew quite literally within the company. So when I ask for something of my team, I've done it, and I feel confident knowing what's feasible, what's not. And I can also, on the flip side, speak up for them when there's adversaries on the clinical side about how much we can push. So I really am proud of the fact that my leadership team comes from the background, and we have the insight to know, okay, what it's like to work a front desk job, what it's like to work a tech job. And we can really bring our successes to the table and see what can work and what can't.
As we kind of gone through this short interview, my takeaway from this is that there is a lot of opportunity that you've spoken to, a lot of the opportunity associated with process optimization through every
Yep.
facet of the organization is a key towards running successful organizations.
I run
Um,
everything with the lens of scalability. So when a physician or a provider or the president or the VP of the organization comes to me with a vision or a goal, I don't just have the task of implementing that goal and making it a reality. I really have to always think in terms of scalability. How do we scale this? Because whatever pitch I'm given to manifest, I have to ensure that that's not where it ends. I have to build it not only to make it an actionable, goal, but I have to always think 10 steps ahead. Okay, if they need an onboarding framework for a multi-specialty company, which was the medical group in New Jersey, how can I make it, number one, scalable, electronic, accessible to multiple onboardings at once? What would it look like not only for one provider to come on board, but 100 at a time? So I always think in terms of scalability frameworks.
Excellent. I believe this short interview was very useful. And I hope others that listen to it have some takeaways. Any closing words?
Just one drive home that innovation is our friend, and make the most state of the art things that are out there on the market your friends. Don't be afraid of it. Really ask the questions and meet people and meet those conversations with curiosity. And it can only help you.
Excellent. Thank you. And this is Andy again. I do these interviews to keep close to all of you trying to run, grow, and optimize practices. It's my way of giving back. So I do hope you enjoyed this interview. Remember, give this video a thumbs up and share a comment. Also, if you know someone I should interview, please connect us. And if you are still dictating everything, please reach out. All my contact information is below. Thanks.